Hey guys, welcome to the shop. Now this week's going to be a different video. It's going to be a pretty simple video, kind of broke up, but it's what I have, so it's what you're going to get. I've got exciting news. I got a new machine that you'll see in just a minute, and it's kind of rough, but I think it's going to clean up real nice. So let's go to the shop and get started. Well, got a new tool for the shop, a new machine. I already had one, but not like this. And a lot bigger, a lot heavier than my other. This is a large Paoli cutter grinder. So it's just got the standard head on it, which is not that great, but it actually looks to be, other than the surface rust, in really, really good condition. I got this from Dale Dairy, from the channel Build Something Cool, so go check him out. And thank you, Dale. So now I got to get this thing off the truck, and I'm by myself, so I have to come up with a good way. Whoa! Man, it's always a good feeling when you get a piece of equipment on the ground that you've moved, 800 or 400 miles, so plus. Always nice. Get it out of the truck, get it on the ground.
Don't tell her I ignored her. I hope there's some sort of added suspension on this truck. Some air shocks or something. Am I tipping it too much?
Yeah, good on it.
Actually, I could pull it off when we turn the right.
Well, I got it in here finally. Took probably about 15-20 minutes to get it from over there to over here. This machine is easily twice as heavy as this one. The base on this machine is solid cast iron, where that one's just a metal cabinet. So a lot more weight in this machine, a lot bigger saddle, a lot bigger table. This table has 12 inches more travel, and just a overall much heavier machine. There's some real benefits to this machine that the little one doesn't have. I'll show you all those, later. I'm going to bring you in. I want to show you as is, the condition I got this. So, if you was to see a machine that looks like this, you shouldn't always, I don't think, necessarily be afraid of it. So, we can clean this up pretty easy, I think. So I'm going to bring you in, show you, and we'll get started. All right. Although it looks pretty sorry on top. It was sitting in a shop, it just sat forever, I believe. And, I'm excited to have it, to be honest. This was a gift. It was free. I didn't pay anything for it. From Dale Dairy, from the channel Build Something Cool. So go check out Dale. He's a super nice guy. It's the first time I ever met him. And, I couldn't get over how nice the guy is. So thanks, Dale. I appreciate the machine, and I can't wait to, give it a second life. Now, the ways on this machine, from what I've seen, they don't have any rust on them or anything. They're up under the machine. They had oil on them, and they look really good. Looks can be deceiving, but they look good. There's a couple problems. It's missing a handle here. That sounds pretty rough. It's missing the knob here to change the speeds of the table traverse. But this is just loose. Something in there is loose that we'll have to tighten up. We had to clean up all the rust, of course. But other than that, you know, the paint's not even wore. This is original paint, and for sure original paint, and it's not even wore bad. I really don't think this machine was used that much. It's got the standard head on it, just the low speed, the cheap head. But I've got a high-speed spindle head over here, you know, so they'll easily swap back and forth between these two machines. They should. So I could use on either one. I'm going to keep both machines. I love that little machine over there, but I think this one will give us bigger capabilities. So this is a model, or part number, B206OBB. That is this machine's ID number, and it is a serial number 18483JF, whatever that means. So this machine here has one thing that I really hated about the little machine, and it has adjustable dials on it. You can actually set 0 on this machine. On the other one, you have to remember everywhere you stopped last and try to hit that number again and do, you know, the math in your head, which is basic, but still, it's, if you can set your dials like you can on a lathe, that's a benefit. So this one has that feature on all of the cranks, and that's good. Now, this rust is going to take a while to clean up, and I'm going to show you how I plan to clean it up. Alright, so a lot of people would see this on a machine and they would just turn 180 degrees and walk away. I don't have that luxury because I, you know, deal with older, you know, cheaper equipment that I can afford. And I can afford free. All I had to pay was gas to go get this thing. So I'm going to work with this. It shouldn't be that bad, and a lot of times it's just surface rust. This has progressed a little more than just a light surface rust. It's actually starting to pit a little, but it's not that bad. And what I use first is I try to get a good razor blade that's not, the edge is not beat up, because I don't want to scratch the surface. I just want to get between the rust and the steel, and then I kick the camera and you know, just go over it first, just get the heaviest stuff off. And you'd be surprised how easy this rust comes off a cast iron. Alright, now just on the back of the machine, I'm just using, you know, a rag and some WD-40, which works pretty good, but it's a little weak. There's better solvents probably for this, cleaning paint and stuff, but it's what I have, and it, you know, works pretty good. You just I spray it on, let it set for a little while, and then wipe it off. Scrub it off, really. This is just my preliminary cleaning. Just to see where I'm at, get a better overall idea of the condition of the machine, and you know, so I hate bumping up against the machine and getting dirty or getting greasy. So I like to, you know, clean them so I can work on them without getting filthy. Well, here's a look underneath the table of a Paoli cutter grinder, at least a large one. Totally different, almost, than the little one over here. Now the little one, the saddle on it has cut, weighs the whole length of the saddle. This is different. It has rollers. Rollers on both sides, both a V and a flat. And they look to be in pretty good shape. This was really dirty in here, just like every old grinder I've ever seen. Had a lot of grit and, old dried oil in it. Here is the table, the bottom of the table. The weighs look pretty good on it. I have found a couple problems, which, I knew that I would have some problems, of course, with a old grinder. And one is this roller that pulls down on the table. I had the same issue with the other little grinder. It's the same design with the hold down. This little roller just rolls on the top of the rack and pulls the table down against the ways. It's the only thing that holds the table down, to be honest, other than gravity. And it's got a war spot in it. I guess this roller locked up, and they continued to use it. They didn't know, I'm sure, and it just wore a flat on the roller. And another thing is the rack that this little gear here drives has a tooth broken off of it. The table traverses. I moved it from one extreme to the other and it seems okay, but I may have to fix that. I probably will fix that in the future, just because it bothers me. And it's a good project to make a rack like that. I think it would be something good for the channel. And what else? Oh, and we got some wear in the hand crank here, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to fix that. I haven't even looked at it yet, but a good look at the inside of the grinder. And I got some pictures before I cleaned it up. It's pretty dirty, but that's the way they all are, really. Never seen an old grinder that wasn't filthy. Dirty. Not too bad. No worse than the other one. I gotta get the saddle off of here so I can properly clean the ways. I don't want to use this thing, especially after I've agitated all the dirt and everything, with rags and stuff. This is going to have to be washed out really good and then blowed off and then wiped down and then put together really clean, or else you're just going to, you can transfer a lot of dirt with rags and stuff, and every bit of dirt on this machine is extremely abrasive. So I'm right now I'm just taking there's two little steel plates, and of course this machine is made by the same people who made the other, so they share a lot of the same characteristics as far as the way that they're assembled. And right now I'm taking off the little brackets that hold the saddle down onto the ways. It has a V and a flat, so I'm going to take those off. I'm going to pull this saddle up and we'll look at the actual saddle ways on this. That way I can clean the screws and stuff in this too. Although they operate extremely smooth, I want to clean it all up and get it at least clean. Then you can really assess the accuracy of a machine, once you know it's operating the way that it should. I still got to make this roller too. So a lot of work left, a whole lot of work. Alright, easy does it. Oh. Okay, yeah. Easy, go ahead, just go slow. Okay, wait, okay, up. Oh, wait. Okay, wait. Up. Go up now. Should be good. Now I can move this back a little and then let it down to safe. Alright, so we got a V and flat. And, you know, I'm just guessing here, but there's little oil pockets, little oil reservoirs here. And I guess these are on these little springs, and they just move up oil onto the ways, and they're good and oiled. And they don't look, you know, horrible. So, you see? Pretty neat. Don't actually know what to say about them because I've never really seen this before. So if you've got a grinder like this, a Paoli, chances are it's like this underneath. So I'm going to take and clean all these out. I'm going to remove all this stuff and clean it just like I've done the rest. So imagine how much work that is. Quite a bit. But I enjoy this kind of stuff, to be honest. Making pretty good progress on this. The ways look decent on it. I'm actually pretty pleased with the way that they look anyway, and the ways on the casting look okay too, so I'm pretty happy about that. The screw looks really good, and the nut's good and tight, so you know, that's a bonus. This machine was given to Dale, I believe that's what he told me, and it's set in his garage for as long as he lived, you know, where he did. So, and I don't know how long he had it before that, so it hadn't been used in forever, and it was really, you know, dirty up underneath. I've learned a lot about at least Paoli grinders in the last 6 months and their construction and whatnot. And both this machine and my little one there share a lot of things in common. Of course they would; they're made by the same people. But if I was to have been buying a machine like this, I wouldn't have paid over. Looking like it did, I would not have paid over scrap value for it, because you take such a big chance buying a grinder. I mean, in their nature, they deal with abrasive dust, and you know it gets on everything, and they all wear, you know, unless they're meticulously cared for. So, you know, it's such a big chance buying a used grinder. That's why I haven't got a regular surface grinder yet, because I'm just, you know, waiting for that gem to come around, and that may never show up, but I'm looking. You know, a surface grinder is a little more particular than a cutter grinder, you know, if you're just doing general stuff. So, this thing has some threaded holes here. They're not really used, but they have grit and stuff in them, and I'm using some of my really long, I guess you'd call them a pulley tap, long access taps to clean out all these threads. I'm going over everything. Might as well do it while it's apart. It doesn't get any easier when it's, you know, together. Oh, it feels so much nicer. And it's not gritty. You know, I'm not trying to clean this thing up to paint it. I would go a lot farther with it if that's what I was going to do. My main goal is to just get it mechanically sound so I can check it out. You know, I'm not going to go through 3 more days of cleaning on top of the 4 days that I've already done just to get this thing ready to paint without even knowing if I need to, you know, do any major work to it. So that's the goal. Just get it cleaned up to where it's not getting any further damage, and you know, assess its accuracy. That's what I want to do. This is just a Vectra, Vectra 2, just a light machine oil. That's what it calls for, a light machine oil.
Wait, what?
I need you to help me set this table on here, please. You don't mind? Here, this will be for your hands. It's kind of heavy, and I got it off by myself, but getting it on, I don't want to beat it up. Now, see, this is, let's see, I'm going to hand you one end. Huh? I'm going to hand you, I'm going to hand you one end, and then I'll get the end that goes on here, and then we'll slide it up on.
Which one?
I'll figure it out. You're going to stand back here. There, it's going to be heavy now. I got it off by myself. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Just hold on to it. You got it? Don't move it. Got it?
Yeah. Like.
Oh, right around. Okay, there we go. It's not that bad. Just awkward.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay. Go that way. Okay, up.
As far as you're getting.
Okay, hold on to it.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Huh. Hooray. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
You're welcome.
Table's on it. Well, here's where I've gotten about 4 days. Now, it looks a lot better than it did. I still got a long way to go, but all the mechanical things on this machine, that's just basically what I was focusing on, are in pretty good shape. You know, I've got them cleaned up, I precision stoned everything, I flushed everything out, and put fresh oil in it. Just made sure that there was no grit and grime in anything, because this thing was filthy. Like all old grinders, I mean, I was not surprised. And I was actually, you know, surprised it probably wasn't dirtier than it was as far as grit and grime. The little one was packed, you know, underneath the saddle. Kind of like this one, but worse. It actually had more under it. So, pretty happy with this thing so far. You know, it's ugly and could use some paint for sure, but I'll do all that later. Once I assess this machine mechanically, you know, grind on it a little bit to see, you know, if it needs anything major. I don't want to have to, you know, ruin a good paint job, you know, taking this thing apart and messing with it. So that's where I'm at so far. I'm pretty happy with it. This machine's going to offer a lot of, you know, capacity over the little one, and I'd ran into several instances where that little machine was not capable of, you know, grinding apart long enough or big enough. It just really doesn't have a lot of travel. This machine's got quite a bit more travel, plus it's got the adjustable dials, which I, you know, really like. And just a more modern design of this one. This is a newer machine than that one, and you know, just a better machine really all around. It's 4 times as heavy. It seems like it anyway. So pretty good. in a week's time after work, after my real job in the afternoons, and I get up early to come out here in the morning and get something done on it. I've made a few pieces for it. The roller that was busted there was a roller under the table that was busted. It was missing the little adjustment knobs at the end of the table. I've started making those. And several little things, so a lot's been done in a short amount of time. But I want to get this thing up and going so we can, make some parts on it and test it. You can only watch so much cleaning, in my opinion. It kind of gets old. But everything looks pretty good so far. I haven't found anything on this machine yet that gives me much concern. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now, let me show you some of the other stuff that Dale gave me. He really hooked me up when I went down there with some of the stuff he didn't want to take, and I really appreciated it. And I'll show you some viewer mail also. Alright, so Dale gave me it doesn't look it right now, that's for sure. But I really do believe that this is a brand new chuck that has never been used. The taper still had cosmoline in it, what looked like cosmoline, and not a scratch on it. Around the chuck keys where I've cleaned, there's no peck marks where you would, always hit them when you try to insert the chuck key. The chuck jaws on the face of them, there's not a scratch on them. So I really do believe that this is a brand new chuck. It's an L1 back. It's a 10-inch, of course, 4-jaw L1 like my spindle. And these are kind of hard to find. L1 is, they're expensive if you can find them. And most people that have them don't get rid of them because they're hard to find. So not a lot of them on the market. So I really appreciated that. Gave me a, what I think is a diamond wheel dresser, which will be pretty neat to try out. It just takes a standard stone, and it's a model number 1 Newman wheel dresser. So we'll have to try that out and see how it works. I got a new CBN wheel that I need to true, so we'll try that out. He also gave me a pantograph, a small pantograph like Stephen Gottswinter's got, but on a much cheaper, smaller scale. It's still a nice one. Let me show you it. Alright, here's the little pantograph. It's New Herms Engravograph. Now, this thing was still in the original box, so it's basically brand new. Now, I got everything with it but the letters. Dale kept those because he's getting another pantograph, and he wanted to be able to use the letters on his new machine. And he didn't need to, so he gave me this one. And it's an American-made machine, pretty heavy. It's actually a lot heavier than it looks, probably weighs 30 pounds, just guessing. And pretty well made, really. Bushings, everything's adjustable as far as the size of the engraving that you do. And it's pretty neat. Works, at least the motor works good, and the spindle sounds good. So I think it will be a really neat unit. I just got to get some letters for it. So I really appreciated that. That's a neat little machine. Allow us to make little labels and stuff like that. Alright guys, let's go through this viewer mail real quick and then we will sign off. So I got a package here with a nice letter in it from Alec and Jim. They wanted to send me some tool steel, so I sent them some stickers a while back. So the letter is pretty good. It says, after chatting with my father, Alec is, I believe he's a 12-year-old boy. I had talked to him, I think, on Messenger. And he said, after chatting with my father, we decided to send you some tool steel that can't be used on his 1930s South Bend lathe. Maybe some of it is usable as is, or you can use it for stock to practice on. Just a little thank you for sending us some stickers and making our Saturday mornings that much brighter with your videos. Dad says he's happy the tooling is going to an exemplary YouTuber and a family man. Cheers. So that's really nice. I definitely appreciate that. That kind of stuff makes all the extra work of making a video worth it. They sent me some parting blades. Several of these are, I think they're 1/8 by 6.5 inches. A piece of Weldon. These are all unground. 3 pieces of Lathrobe Donovan, and then a 1/8 by 7/8 by 6 piece of Momax. So that's pretty nice. And then they sent me a, I think it's 3/4 inch brazed carbide tool, and then 6 pieces of 5/8 tool steel. Some of these are really neat. I want to show them to you. You may find interest in them too. These are 3 pieces of Hayes Stellite 98, and 2 of these pieces have dates on them when they were ground. They definitely were professionally ground, and probably for some factory or something. And one of them has a date of 2/12/1945, and then the other one has a date of 3/30/1944. So these were ground quite some time ago, and I have some others in my box that are about this age too. And it's pretty neat to get the opportunity to use a tool that was ground that long ago. You know, and probably the person that ground it's probably long gone by now, but I thought that was really neat. And then we got a piece of Rex 95 with a 9/64 radius and then a standard cutting edge. A piece of Mystery steel. And then a piece of Momax Cobalt, which is really nice with a pretty nice grind on it. Just needs touched up. So thank you, Alec and Jim. I really appreciate it. That was really nice of you guys. And my last piece of viewer mail is from John. He sent me some stickers. John Jeffries. It's Through the Bulkhead Adventures in Machining, and I already got 1 sticker on the board, and I'll put these others on my box. He sent me some pieces of round high-speed steel and a piece of carbide there for making little boring bars and stuff, and you know, it's pretty neat, and I appreciate that. I'll have to put that in my tool steel box. So thank you, John, thank you, Jim, and thank you, Alec. I really appreciate it. Alright guys, I think that's it this week. It's been a crazy busy week. I have really got a lot done this week. I'm excited about this machine. It's being heavier. It should perform better, and then having the larger capacity, you know, should extend our capabilities quite a bit. That is a much larger machine, and I'm excited about it. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I think, you know, it will perform pretty good. We'll see. I've had several people ask what book that I get my information from as far as, you know, tapers and just machinist info. And what I use is the American Machinist Handbook by Colvin and Stanley. And I don't own a machinist handbook, a standard machinist handbook, and I don't own a black book. I need to get both of those. I know that Adam's been giving them away. So I need to come up with one of those, and I need to get that black book because there's a lot of good information in those. But they're readily available. I just haven't got around to getting one. So sorry for the rough video, but that's the way it is sometimes. Sometimes you just don't have the time to sit down for hours and hours to edit. But I wanted to give you guys something, and this is what you get. So thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't, make sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking on my little guy up here and hit the bell for notifications. And as always, I'll see you next time.